First of all, I appreciate the comments from you guys. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your interest in this particular case. I think it's great to take a break from the Sebastian Rogers case. I think Seth needs to step things up. And to all of the people who say you're too harsh on Seth, no, I'm not. Because I care about what happened to Sebastian Rogers. If the parents fail, I'm not going to suck up to either parents. And I'm not going to continue to do that and make excuses for when I see parents missing out on the opportunity to find out what happened to their child. There's only so much we can do. I've done my part. I will do more. Law enforcement doesn't want to act. The Foots, of course, are stalling on purpose. And Seth is asleep at the wheel, listening to Tony telling him, don't go on any lives. What the hell? So, this case with the two children in Nova Scotia is, of course, of great interest to me. And the similarities to the Sebastian Rogers case allow me to sort of continue where I actually left off. And that's the beautiful thing about it. We are more likely going to get results pretty soon. And these results will help us in our journey in learning about statement analysis. My classes are coming up. Why the emphasis on the clothing, the backpacks, all of these things, even though the parents said they were asleep, drifting in and out of sleep, really, but they knew exactly what they had on. Well, guess what? We can look at what's missing in the house, but the certainty with which the parents describe what they had on is the certainty with which Sebastian Rogers's family said he left with his glasses and a small flashlight and no shoes. But that came later. So how come they were so certain in the case of Sebastian Rogers that his flashlight was missing? And I've said it before. I think one of the people, either Katie or somebody, one of the people who came by at 3 a.m. to get rid of Sebastian's body, needed another flashlight, or Katie grabbed that flashlight, not knowing it wouldn't work because she went outside to assist them before she went back into the house. And one of the people took it. So, what they're doing is giving you with certainty certain items that they know for 100% can no longer be found in the house. And in this particular case, with the kids, Lily and Jack, that certainty tells me, leads me to believe either that's what they were maybe buried with, or that's what was given to whoever took them. Because you cannot be that certain, or you would express that you are not that certain. You would have a little bit of a doubt and say, well, I think they, I don't find this here. But that sounds almost like they are handing the children off to somebody and they remember exactly, okay, they both had their backpacks, or one of them, or I forgot exactly the details, and what they had on. This is something that seems to be very vividly burned into their minds, or his mind particularly. Like he was there when the kids were handed off to somebody. And then this re-enters the people's minds. And they're able to say, okay, I don't, yes, that part I know. I know for a fact that before I put them in the car with these people, that's what they had on. And that's not going to be found anywhere around here. Similar with that flashlight. Or the glasses that may have been lost on the way of transporting Sebastian close to Clutch or Hutch Court. I forgot which one. So I will now continue listening a little bit to Plunders first.
Young kids, but they have a lot of energy. They're up early. Daniel says, as soon as I noticed that I didn't hear anything, I immediately jumped out of bed. I searched the bedrooms and looked in the backyard because they go looking for bugs and grass to feed the chickens. And when I noticed they weren't there, I jumped in my vehicle and surveyed every dirt road and culvert I could find. So that's where people got it from, saying Daniel was driving around just looking. I remember him mentioning the culverts. He's looking around. But this is the weird part. Daniel said since the disappearance of the children, their mom has left to be with her family in another part of the province and has blocked him on social media. So does that mean Malaya knows something about what Daniel did? Did Daniel do anything?
So she knows there will not be a reason to keep communication up with him, right? Because the children are not going to return. She knows what happened. There's not going to be anything. But it could also be that she deleted her Facebook and removed herself from social media. So he thought he was being blocked when maybe he was not. But still, that would mean she is cutting off all sorts of communication. You would think that this is the last place her children had been seen alive. And he is there. You would think that there will at least be one, be it Instagram chat or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or anything, be it anything, any just one line of communication should be left open. Anything, have you seen them? Are they back? Anything yet? Anything? She shouldn't be able to cut communication completely with this guy, with Daniel, her ex. She should be unable to do that. Even if she hated him, unless she knows these kids either are deceased or so far away that she doesn't, see any possibility of him ever being. Yeah, it's more likely. It more likely leads me to think that the children are deceased actually, because if they ever, even if they handed them off and it's some sort of collateral for drugs. I mean, again, this sounds maybe too far fetched for some of you, but that only means that you've been brought up and live in a stabler society than some people are and have been. It means that you guys, you know, for good reasons, it's a good thing. You can't imagine, but these things happen, people. But if there had been a handoff and they blew the drugs and don't have any money to give back to these people? Or was it, do I need to go so far that they actually sold these kids to get them trafficked? And that maybe at the time when they were high, they gave themselves excuses like, oh, maybe these kids will be in better hands and maybe they will have a loving couple adopting them. And who knows what these people, these drug pushers and the kind of criminals that surround these types of drug parties who always look for a new victim. They always look at people's weaknesses, they always look to exploit further and further. And these are all only possibilities, people. But what if these types of people, they see two children and they think, oh, I could get some money for them. That's point blank. That's how these people think. And maybe these types of people also lie. How far fetched is that, right? Those types of people would lie. Yeah, they would lie and say, oh, we have a couple that wants to adopt, and I can give you some money right now and buy you some drugs and this and that. And you'll never see your kids again, but they'll be in good hands. Who knows? All of these are things, the types of things that do happen. So if you guys look at, let's say, anything related to what you can imagine, what you have experienced, what you have witnessed and heard of in your life, no, we need to think outside of the box. Any box will only keep us from getting many times. Okay, let me say it like this: many times the cases get so convoluted that people lose complete track, and people are looking in the wrong directions for decades, as has been in the case of John Benet Ramsey for decades. And many times, what that indicates is that people wouldn't allow themselves to look at the obvious. In this case, it was Burke, in my opinion, but people didn't want to allow themselves because I don't understand it, but people don't allow. When a case goes on and on and on, that means something is being ignored, something that is right there and very, very obvious. And the same with the Proudfoots. The Bauer success are being ignored. Where was Kathy Bauer Sachs that morning, in the early morning hours of Monday, February 26th? If you are a neighbor and you have the camera footage still, I'd be very interested in hearing from you. Very interested. I can guarantee you there'll be something on these camera footages that goes in stark contrast to what even Chris Proudfoot wasn't able to reliably deny. He was only able to say, that's a rumor, to Seth when Seth talked about worships. And Seth should stand up again and not let me have to do this. Stand up, Seth. And if Tony Mathis says, no, you cannot go on live, Seth, now, please be a man and stand up for once. You didn't stand up to Chris Foot. Stand up for once and say, this is now my decision. Otherwise, yeah, you'll get paid from Netflix and all of this, but your son will not, you will never find out what happened to your son. This is why this case is of greater interest to me. And I still want to hear from Cody Sullivan, the biological father of Lily and Jack. Let's hear a little bit more from Mrs. Plunder. And I have heard of her before, I think, but yeah, many of you seem to know her. But I think she didn't touch the Sebastian Rogers case at all. Good for her. She didn't touch it at all, I think. But I saw some of her older videos about Summer Wells. I will probably tune into her when new cases come about.
Anything? Is there foul play? A lot of people, of course, are thinking foul play. And again, I'm not accusing anyone. These children could have really wandered off into the woods. They really may have been abducted.
I don't know. Well, no, no, no. Not according to her language. And his either. These statements leave me no doubt that this is exactly what did not happen. They didn't wander off to be abducted. No, that did not take place. I told you guys so far there are two possibilities that I see. It when she says the next thing I know the room is quiet, that may indicate death. It may indicate that. Can it indicate? Yeah,
No, I'm just praying for a miracle. I'm praying for a miracle in Jesus because I just hate all these.
I don't do that, and the reason I don't do that is because I like to know the facts, and the facts need to hit me, and the facts can be pleasant, and the facts can be brutal. But I have lived. When I'm looking back, for example, at the John Benet Ramsey case, I'm looking back at it and I'm thinking, oh my God, how bamboozled was I? and I'm saying no more. And always there were people, saying, I pray and I. That's great. You can. And you should, if that's what you feel like you should be doing. But in my case, it's like, no, man. I realize how much we have been lied to about so many cases, and not necessarily, well, I mean, media and I mean, the John Benet Ramsey. Well, let me say it like this: the media's case, it's not their job to solve a crime. It's their job to get the ratings and then do a part two and a part three and a part four and the reunion part, and every single time get the ratings. And if people want to believe something, that's likely what they're going to give them. If people want to think about the possibility of a pedo taking John Benet, the same story Burke is trying to sell us now, yeah, that's what they give people. Or about the beauty pageants, how it's bad for, all that, whatever road that people are looking down on, that's what they're going to give you. They're going to give you exactly that. This is exactly what they are going to provide, anything that you tune into. And I am seriously done with, um, you see, especially since social media came around. I was like, there's no way. How much time and how much of my mind I had wasted tuning into something because I was interested in a case, and all I heard was just nonsense and lies and misleading stuff. The truth is very simple, people, and I'm here to figure it out no matter what case presents itself to me.
Cases with so many children being harmed. But Daniel says, I'm feeling terrible, just like the last few days. It's just me on my own with my family out here. I don't know why she left. Now, some people are wondering, okay, did the police advise her to leave the home? Is she flipping on Daniel and saying he's suspicious? Or are they both suspicious? Are neither one of them suspicious?
Or it was his idea, but she has guilty knowledge because she agreed on it. And she blames him for them dying, for their death, or coming up with the idea of handing them over to somebody. Those are very strong likelihoods, people. Likely, she felt it was his idea, whatever took place. She hates herself for going along, but what she hates more than anything is his side. Looking at him reminds her why her children are now gone. That's just speculation. Maybe the high wore off, and now the kids are not there. She said they're the sweetest kids, and she says they talk to anyone. We don't want to know about anyone or everyone. We want to know about the suspects. We want some names. And if you have guilty knowledge because you handed your children over, we want to know about that too. But more than anything, we want to be able to either find your children or find out exactly what happened to them. Maybe you're telling yourself they're probably dead or can never be found, so let it go, because otherwise police will just come after me and I will never see my 16-month-old child again. Remember, with the John Benet Ramsey thing, protecting their surviving child, that was important. In the Summer Wells case, by the way, I do not think it was murder. I think actually it was accident or negligent accident. And they could have told law enforcement about it. but they didn't want to because they knew that if anything ever goes to court or to trial, a jury will look at how they let these children live, and they would lose their other children, which they eventually did. But they still thought about their other children. And when Candace Bly walked to this waterhole with Chris McDonough, I saw real emotions there because she knows that this is the place where she likely in the water hit her head on rocks, causing her to eventually pass away. So here we are being confronted with another situation where we have to ask ourselves, whom are these people protecting? Are they protecting their ability to keep their 16-month-old daughter? It's a girl, right? I thought I heard this. This is something that could make sense to me because he said he will probably search for the rest of his life, but he said probably. So why only probably? O.J. Simpson was sure he will look for the real killer forever. Also, McCain's and Ramsey's, they were sure there was not going to be anything that's going to be found. And right they were. Until now, people. So, should I say things nicer about Seth? Some people tell me that. I don't understand. I don't know. Does it? I'm here to uncover things that other people do not. Even if they have analyses or utilize certain types of techniques to get closer to something, if they're scratching the surface and go from one case to the next, that is not what I'm doing. I have no idea what happened about in the case of Karen Reed. I have absolutely zero idea, people. Jan Soto, I hear the name also. I have zero idea. Finally, I found out something about Robert Murdoch. I saw the Netflix something, but all these other cases, I know absolutely nothing about them. I don't have space in my mind because I'm already traveling down these roads. And the more I look, the more I find, the more there is. So let me see what this woman, this lady is doing now, what she's gonna continue with. I'm very curious. She seems to go pretty systematic about it.
Suspicious, or are they both suspicious? Are neither one of them suspicious? What's going on? Why would this mom leave
Both.
her home with her children just
Both know.
missing?
They know.
Strange.
No, not on a commercial. Come on.
Get the full XM experience with our app, highly rated by thousands of traders. Claim
Shut up. Okay,
His
here we go.
mom leave her home with her children just missing. It's strange. He's going to talk about his interrogations a little bit. Initially, that dispatcher, of course, was advising the mom, Malaya, to stay near the home. Makes sense.
He's talking about
The
his
first
what?
few hours of the search, they had no idea. They'd be 6 days into this search with these children missing. But Daniel is saying that Lily and Jack would not have made it far into the woods on their own. And that's what the questions were today during the presser. Reporters were saying, look, you guys have searched so many places. Like, I've listened to a lot of dispatch. You won't know how many hours and hours I've scrubbed through, pulling out the important parts. Sounds like they have helicopters up, they had drones up, they were coordinating, they were doing a grid search. I mean, someone searched so long and hard, they had extreme muscle cramps. These people are working to find these children and to not find a clue. Allegedly, there was a pink blanket found, but reportedly, the cops were told it wasn't related to these children. Even in the upcoming dispatch audio, you'll hear one searcher say, I found like an onion bag. Is this something that the kids were known to play with? So they were out there deep in those woods searching for any kind of clue. Daniel said they would have found them in the woods by now. So I'm urging the public to come forward if they have any.
True. They would have found him by now. Yep, Daniel.
Thing to say or offer, so he's kind of blaming others, like, okay, if you guys know anything, let me know. I don't think they make it far. As soon as they get their clothes or boots wet, they immediately want to take them off and go back inside the house. Oh, scary. So I did hear the cops say they were searching cabins, they were clearing cabins. They got a tip, something about Walmart, but that turned out to be a negative. I guess the one authority was able to compare a photo of the children with, I don't know what the Walmart tip was. Someone thought they were there. And then the searcher with those extreme muscle cramps. But according to Globe and Mail, and you can hear in the audio too when Globe and Mail shows up at the scene pretty early Friday into the search. But according to that publication, more than 100 people who were assisted by helicopters, drones, tracking dogs. They have not pulled out the cadaver dogs yet. That's what we learned in the presser. Maybe
Interesting.
that will be their next step, they said. They were scouring and searching this dense.
I wonder why. So the cadaver dogs should be the first thing in the house, just to eliminate that these children died in the house. That would be my number one priority. And I don't know if it's legalities in that area in Canada, in Nova Scotia, that they are not allowed to use. I mean, that doesn't. I don't understand that at all, people. Maybe they used the cadaver dogs and just didn't want people to know that they hit on something. I don't know. But this makes zero sense.
Wooded swath of the province. Daniel told the Globe that police interviewed him for 4 hours at the Pictou County RCMP detachment in the
I am not surprised.
town of Stellarton Tuesday night. So this was just last night.
Mind you, they probably had a whole day time to prepare themselves and get the same story straight enough. At the end of which, probably Malaya could no longer stand the sight of Daniel.
Makes sense because when children this young aren't found,
It's her children, not his.
there's no hide or hair of them. Nothing in the woods near that home that all these searchers could find. Staying up, Lord knows how many hours of the night.
Right.
This is after the 5th day, so this is Tuesday night. He gets interviewed for 4 hours. They're digging and digging. So
Yeah.
again, it's saying Lily and Jack were reported missing at 10 a.m. And their mom, Malia and Daniel, said they woke up, it was a silent home, and that surprised them. But Daniel said, my story has been consistent.
Okay, so, well, okay, they've been sick, right? Thursday. But he's not been consistent because he said on Friday they were not in school. Failed to mention Thursday they were not in school. So, why would they be surprised? I mean, does she not get up in the morning and make him breakfast and send him off to school or anything like that? And if she had a cough the day before, wouldn't you want to check and see if she's all right to go to school today? If she's still sick or not? Hey, good morning, baby. What you need? Let me get you some breakfast here. You think you can go to school today? No, none of that. Okay, so they woke up at 10. Yeah, maybe they just figured, okay, let's get a break from everything. We had a drug party here allegedly, and now we need some rest. And they woke up around 10, and they didn't see their kids. They didn't hear their kids. Okay, let's continue.
When you tell the truth, it's always consistent. So I don't know. Maybe Daniel is telling the truth. I can't sit here and throw this man under the bus.
Do you call yourself consistent when you are telling everybody what happened? Or does that lead us to believe that this is something he actually had rehearsed? And consistency is an accomplishment to him. Because the only accomplishment would be to find these kids. Not the fact that you are consistent. A lot of people have been consistent. And it always strikes me as strange when I hear about certain cases and they say, well, for the record, he has always denied the allegations. Well, I don't care. It doesn't matter. A lot of people take the truth to the grave. When they get a story straight, they say, oops, this is a good one. I will stick with it. Same with Chris Foot. Katie got the script down and he said, ooh, that's, wow, I'm blown away, man. That'll smoke him, dude. Holy crap, this is good. Can I say this? Oh yeah, I want to speak this. I want to present the script. Geez, people gonna think I'm bright. They're gonna look at me like, wow, he's bathing in that. K-Foot, on the other hand, she's smart enough. She doesn't need this kind of. She rather would downplay who she is. She rather wants to look like she's a victim of a kidnapping or something. She rather, looks down and presents herself in a way that's absolutely not her way. And you could tell that when Heather talked to them on the phone, when she keeps chiming in and arguing, that was the real K-Foot. Did she not know that she was being recorded? I don't know.
Can't throw Malia under the bus. Stranger things have happened with children going off into the woods and being rescued alive. I don't know without researching the limit of how long a young child has survived in.
It's almost freezing there, so I don't know, dude. What are they gonna eat? No. They were soaking wet, and then it was freezing. It's almost zero. At least they said, well, at least it wasn't freezing. Well, it tells me it's pretty close. Imagine you're soaking wet, and then it's almost freezing temp. Come on, dude. And she already had a cough. She already had. Come on. Come on. Yeah, maybe a child will survive if you lose him at the beach somewhere and in a better condition, and there's everywhere mango trees, and yeah, children have survived. Children can survive, but this is freaking Canada, man. And yes, it's gonna be summer soon, but it seems like in that area, it's not summery whatsoever.
It's like these before, but we've heard stories, we've seen beautiful stories where a child is off in the woods for 2 or 3 days, and sometimes they're with their dog or they're just protected. The Lord protected them. This story, however, people are wondering, were these children ever.
I do believe in what people may call miracles, or I can call also synchronicities, or yeah, miracle. I believe in these things. I believe it's possible. There are many things I can't explain, and I will not try to explain them. But yes, surprises are definitely possible. Yes, I give her that. But unfortunately, the language that both Malaya and her partner used, no, man, no, people.
In the woods? Were they really ever, sneaking out the sliding glass door? Or is that just a tall tale?
No.
According to CNBC, Malia's mother, Cindy Murray, spoke to them in a brief phone interview. She said, "We're just hoping and praying for the best. That's it, for our babies to come home." And she also added, this is why it was brief, I'm sure, that police have advised the family against speaking with the public. So she's the grandmother of 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack, the mom of Malia. As far as Daniel's interview, he says, look, police told him walk them through just step by step. All those
Step by step.
Details whatever happened Friday, May 2nd, the day the children were reported missing, and even the previous few days prior to that. They are like telling him draw maps and locations wherever the children could possibly be. We've seen investigators do this, they're like, where do you even think they could be? That when they're trying to get info out of a person, they're like, just in your mind's imagination, where could these children be?
Right.
So now this was confusing too. Neither child had attended school that week since Tuesday. That's what Daniel told the Globe.
Oh, really?
He said they were kept home. They were kept home Thursday and Friday, and then Wednesday was no school because Lily had a cough. So
I didn't know that.
Some people were understanding it initially. They didn't go to school Friday, and then they learned, they didn't go to school Thursday and Friday. But then I guess we didn't know there was no school Wednesday. So basically, apparently, allegedly, the children had gone to school that Monday and Tuesday, and then they were home Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that leads me to believe, oh no, was it a powder keg? Was it like this, when kids are home? And also, the children allegedly are on the spectrum, some level of autism. I mean, there's this video of, I believe it may have been Jack's birthday. I don't know if he turned 2 or what. I was grateful someone grabbed it off of Malia's Facebook before her Facebook was taken down, hidden, deleted, or whatever. So it looks like there's a number 2 on the cake. I believe it's a celebration of when Jack turned 2. Now, the little girl screaming her head off reportedly is Lily.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow, she got it already. Cool. I was looking for it, man.
Lily! Stop, honey.
Now Lily's smiling.
Happy birthday. So people are understanding, like with children with special needs, maybe.
No, she said they're possible, or I'm so, honestly, I'm so tired of this overdiagnosing crap. I'm so sickened of that. She screamed her head off. And I've seen children do that for various reasons. I've seen kids do that when they were at a birthday party for somebody else and they got jealous because it was not their birthday. That doesn't mean you immediately say, oh, spectrum. Or as Chrisford would say, it's all autism actually anyways. ADHD, Asperger's is all autism, this is why I can't even, I can't go back there, man. This case at least gives me a little bit of better energy that there is a possibility. As for Sebastian, I don't see any possibility anymore. Law enforcement there, and there's so much other information that I've gotten from that area, what's going on there, certain things that lead me to believe there's never going to be, nothing will ever be solved. Ever. So I'm almost upset that so many people have wasted their time on this case, But again, I given my analysis from the beginning and said, don't search. Search only at specific places. And law enforcement needs to get busy because we need to look only at very specific places that they haven't looked and that they cannot get a search warrant for right now. So don't waste your time to feel better and look everywhere in the world. No. You see, that's when I'm saying I don't want to hear about hope too much, because hope can give you the wings to fly too high and then crash down really, really, really hard. So, two things stand out. Daniel tries to push for tears. He's trying to cry. And Malaya told us the next thing we knew, the room was quiet. How was that the next thing you knew? I forgot you were drifting in and out of sleep. No, that quiet can be death. It can be. It can also be waking up to the realization that you have done something terrible with your children. And and that they're gone now. I can guarantee you another statement from her, it will become a lot clearer which one of those it is. And I'm leaning towards one, but it is not important for me. I don't want to get people get ahead of themselves a lot of times. I don't want to do that. So I'm keeping these possibilities open.
Lily was a little bit upset at all the people singing happy birthday, or maybe she was overly excited, or whatever was going on. She just screamed and screamed, and people are looking.
Yeah, she didn't cry. So maybe this was overexcited, overstimulated, too much sugar, who knows? You know, remember K-Foot. He gets overstimulated.
Looking at Daniel, and was he giving a look to Lily at all? Was he ignoring?
I didn't take it like that. I've been told it was that a very like evil eye look, angry look, but I don't really see that.
Lily to just look at Malia like, calm your daughter down. What was the vibe there?
เจลฉลอง20 ปี Agoda มาแล้ว วันเกิดปีนี้จัดเต็มสุด
Yeah,
Look at Malia like,
I was looking for a long time for this video, and then I realized just now she had it on already. Listen, you know what? At this time, I don't see it. Maybe I need to see an enhancement of the video. Maybe I need to see a larger version.
calm your daughter down. What was the vibe there?
Was that Malaya with the cake or off camera? Question. Here, just so you know what I'm talking about. Bam, bam.
But that leads me to believe now, knowing they had all these days off of school, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, preparing like for a 5-day weekend, basically. A child, Lily, having a cough. Did they really go missing Friday morning? Or
No.
did something happen? You know, they have an 18-month-old as well. And as I understand it, Daniel has other children. I'm not sure who. I saw his Facebook.
And they're doing a lot of drugs. And they are always supervising their children?
I saw other children. It's confusing. I don't know how many children were in the home. I'm still digging into this case, but I wonder if it became this emotional thing with all these children home, with the younger baby. Did something happen? Did someone go off? That's what folks are asking. Of course, their mind is naturally wandering.
That was my first thought also. But I don't know why. I have sort of abandoned that. Yeah, we shall see.
Way off base. I wish I were. You know, I really wish by some miracle these children still were just found some type of storage place or shed or whatever in the woods, and they were able to hunker down and still just be alive right now. I'm just hoping against hope. But again, Malia,
I don't see that, you know. Again, if it was like where was that place? Where was it in Australia where a kid was found? I forgot where it was. But I would assume that maybe in a warm area close to a river, and maybe with well, we can survive without food for quite some time, but not water. So a warm area by a river, I can see survival. I cannot see survival for a week, close to freezing temperatures, after it was no way, people. Not little kids. Not way, no way. Not happening.
says has been staying with her mother in a nearby town since the children went missing. That's what Daniel said. He and his wife have only had sporadic contact since then. Why? Are they turning on each other? Does she suspect him of something or vice versa? What literally is happening? You don't necessarily.
And also, like I stated, why were Daniel and Malaya never on camera together?
We often see this. I mean, yes, trauma, of course, trouble can just can break a relationship apart. I understand that, but it's odd that she left the home so early. Is it divide and conquer? Some people are asking, like in this Facebook chat or everything groups about the case, did the police ask her to leave her home so
Possible.
they could be apart and
Possible.
they could focus on Daniel, they could focus on questioning both of them, they could focus on if their stories don't match up? I mean, again,
but both of their statements were deceptive, both of them, people, especially hers. And his too, in a different manner. He didn't talk about the events, how they supposedly wound up missing in such a detail, but he has given us so many red flags already. He knows what happened. So, yeah, maybe the police think, okay, one of them is going to start talking. And I don't know if in Canada the cops are allowed to lie to people, like in the US, they're allowed to set up a ruse, or I hope so. But I don't know. They're probably pretty cop smart, these two. If they've been into drugs and everything, they probably have learned. I mean, what do people when they're high, what they talk about? They talk a lot about cops, right? Like, don't let, if a cop asks you this, don't say anything. If a cop said, people, philosophize over police work or whatever. People exchange, these types of people in those circles, they exchange information about police all the time. How to handle any situation. What is the best way to avoid getting into trouble when you are in trouble? And so on and so such. I've seen, by the way, a really interesting thing about this former sheriff who was busted for drunk driving. And he refused to. He refused the test, the sobriety test. He refused the breathalyzer. Then they arrested him. And they said, okay, now we're going to have to fingerprint you. And the sheriff looked at them. He says, you know damn well you don't have to do that. So, they always threaten. They say, now we have to do this, now we have to do that, but the sheriff, he looked at him and says, we both know that's BS. I can refuse being fingerprinted. I can refuse giving you my DNA. I can refuse all of these things. Now, what the consequences will be, I am not sure, because he got a 60-day sentence, but they said 3 days are served already, credit for 3 days, and the rest is suspended. So I don't know, but the laws can be quite vague. I mean, the laws, no, not necessarily the laws, but what actually happens and takes place. And I never understand when somebody gets 25 life sentences. I'm like, who gives a crap? What does it mean? Is that's just for, that's just cosmetic? I don't care. Just tell me life is life, or death is death, or 10 years is 10 years. You know what I mean? It's all like, so in Canada, anyways, I got off topic as I do oftentimes, but in Canada, I don't know if they're able to say, well, Daniel just said that it was actually all your idea. And I don't know. I don't know if the cops are allowed to do that. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to get more information from you guys. But again, it may work. These things may work, but they may not, because they may anticipate it. But it's worth a try, right? Even if you're not allowed to lie directly, there's still ways you can mislead, probably. But they may have had a last pact not to turn on each other no matter what, knowing that if either turns on the other, involvement will be revealed and they will lose their 16-month-old child. So there seems to be a certain dilemma that Malaya is in. I feel that very strongly from her. Not just feel it, but her statements where she gets flustered. Not just that they could possibly be abducted with the possibility that they could have been, but they don't give Amber Alerts just to get your face out. There needs to be a threat of an abduction or something.
There's a lot of language interpretation here. How many times they speak about we this and we that. Is it a rehearsed story or
Yes.
not? Talking to the Globe, the children's grandmother, Malaya's mom, Cindy, said, "We're not discussing anything right now. The police told us not to." So, of course, Daniel's still holding out hope. Everyone's holding out hope that the children will be found safely.
Yeah,
it's
right.
just picking up on the oddities of the situation, maybe some of the interviews, maybe some of the wording. And again, it doesn't mean that people have to be falling down crying. It's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because the mom, I think she's pretty calm. I don't think I've seen Malia cry in any interview I found.
Yeah.
And of course, some people are finding that suspicious.
Wait. Any interview you found, I only seen one. What the hell?
But then Daniel, when he starts breaking down crying, like, okay, someone told me I could, go back into the woods and search again, and he starts crying. Or he's saying, I was screaming so loud until my throat was sore. When
No. Somebody was screaming.
he shows emotion, people are calling that fake too. Some folks are calling that fake, so you just don't know. That's when he started talking about, I already asked to put officers at the New Brunswick border, PEI border, and get them at every single airport. Are they doing that? They said, that's not the concern right now. With Daniel saying that reminds me so much of the Summer Wells case. All these cases where, unfortunately, these children have gone missing. The parents are like, go get people at the border. Go get folks at the airport. They're going to be abducted. They're going to be taken through airports or whatever. And if the cops are saying that's not the concern right now,
Yes.
obviously that means they're focusing on at least Daniel with
Exactly.
a 4-hour interrogation that
Yes.
maybe we'll never see. Canadians, help me out. I don't know how your FOIA or public records, or if you have anything like that, works. Is it after an arrest and after a trial? Is that information released then or never? Interrogation videos, this 4 hours that officers spent with Daniel. I just hate the hush-hush process, but
Yeah.
I really pray the cops can find out truly what happened.
If I had this 4 hour, if I had only the right 2 minutes of that, I would know what happened. What we got is not enough. What I need is his answers to certain questions, specifically.
They're not concerned with, getting people at the airport, and Daniel's already hitting back and obviously slightly blaming the cops, saying, are they doing that? They said that's not the concern right now. Blaming the cops, saying, are they doing that? They said that's not the concern right now. I don't know. I can't say much now, but listen to all this dispatch audio coming up. I found a lot. I went through a lot of hours on Friday. I don't know where I stopped, around 3 p.m. almost. Maybe I'll try and listen to more, but I just pulled out snippets that sounded sort of interesting or relevant to this case. And then as far as Saturday, May 3rd, I haven't found anything yet about their dispute. I don't even know if they called 911 during this dispute, whatever happened between Malaya and Daniel on Saturday. Maybe there is no record of it, but I could search more through Saturday audio. I tried to search around the time I thought it happened, but it can be spotty, this audio, but you'll hear they're searching everywhere on foot, in the air, with drones. They're putting out alerts. They're even talking about some trail camera in the woods. They were trying to find the owner, and it sounds like there was potentially a missing kayaker at some point in here. Maybe it was that Thursday. So the searchers were so tired. They're talking about a dive team. I don't know if they're talking about a dive team searching for these children, or if it was for the missing kayaker. I don't know if that kayaker was found. A lot of these searchers were wiped. They were so tired by Friday morning because some of them had already been searching, I think, for the missing kayaker. If I'm not mistaken, some of this audio is horrible. Reception can be horrible apparently up there. But before we listen to all this audio dispatch I've pulled and then watch the presser, I'll just read 1 John 3:21 through 22. Beloved, if our heart does not convict us of guilt, we have confidence, complete assurance, and boldness before God. And we receive from him whatever we ask, because we carefully and consistently keep his commandments and do the things that are pleasing in his sight, habitually seeking to follow his plan for us. So my ask is that God can find these children. Really do wish a miracle would happen. They're such beautiful children.
She's very sincere, man. Like, that's actually, wow, I like that. That's cool. But I realized I left out the first part of this. So let me just check real quick if there's something I missed.
She has no phone reception, but she does have photo of the two kids. The 6-year-old is the girl, I believe, and she's wearing pink.
It's really dense. I mean, it's beautiful out there.
Wait, you know what, people? No. I'm going to...
Memory here, we just had a 911 call. Can I go ahead with the details? Yeah, go ahead. There called me a 911 from a Karen Ponacao. Kindly about 5 minutes. She was just driving past the black Honda CRV. Nova Scotia marker Golf Mike Fox 320 that left the outdoor recreational park close to the residence. It is permanently closed. Go ahead. I'm sure it's related, but it felt a bit strange to her. Driver was a white male around 50 years old, bald with a mustache. It left around 1480 Fairlock Road. I can send that down to your MWS if it's easier. Send a copy of Bravo 3, deactivate and reactivate me to this one.
And this is what Sweetie Pilo talked about in her last live. And I will get more into this later.
Here, how many times they speak about we this and we that. Is it a rehearsed story or not? And then watch the presser. I'll just read 1 John 3:21 through 22. Beloved, if our heart does not convict us of guilt, we have confidence, complete assurance, and boldness before God. And we receive from him whatever we ask, because we carefully and consistently keep his commandments and do the things that are pleasing in his sight, habitually seeking to follow his plan for us. So my ask is that God can find these children. Really do wish a miracle would happen. They're such beautiful children. Every case I see, I always say, oh my goodness, some parents would have loved you so much better and wanted you. And
yes.
Of course I can't go there yet because I don't know how this case is going to resolve, but just...
Yeah, so many parents, she's so right. So many parents that cannot have children, and they see these beautiful kids and think, oh my God, I would have loved to give them a good home. The same as Summer Wells. A lot of people were like, wow, this child deserved, but they live like animals and they're in cages, you know what I mean? So, of course, life is what life is, man.
Listen to all the 911 dispatch audio, the dispatchers talking amongst themselves, and then...
So I will look a little more into this 50-year-old guy with the mustache.
Presser, and then we'll just keep these children in our prayers. There's a lot of other cases I've been digging into too, but I'm just going to try and keep them in separate videos. So thanks for watching all of this. Take care. Let's pray Lily and Jack are found today.
Foster here, just speaking with Glenn, are you able to authorize and start getting some search teams going to the airlock location?
I'm not going to get into the dispatch. I'm not going to do that. But again, we need to have more statements from both Daniel and Malaya. And it is too bad that if you're in Canada and can tell me what we can get a hold of, please. Let me see some comments here. Mike, are there no dogs on that property? I don't know. I guess not. You know, you would think that normally these types of properties have dogs, but I don't think they did. I mean, not that I heard. You would hear about it, right? I mean, look at the Summerverse. Look at her house. There was, what, 20 dogs or something like that? Okay. Somebody said dealers don't want kids. Top high risk. Yeah, that was me talking about as a collateral. No, I'm sorry. I actually, that may have been the language used by a potential dealer who actually would plan to sell these children and traffic them. So I sometimes don't realize that, I sometimes when I say things, I'm always thinking, no, of course. I mean, people, come on. No, I didn't think that they would actually keep these children as collateral at all. I'm saying that these are people, exploiters, drug dealers, who have access to people, to criminals all over the country. And they see two children and they say, oh, I can get some money for them. They know about the business, they have their hands in everything that's illegal that may make the money. And they may have told these children, hey, I got here, I don't know how many thousands of dollars worth of drugs. I can front it to you so you can get back on your feet, man. And I need, as a collateral, I need your children. Don't worry, we give them back to you, and something like that. These are just the possibilities. But no, I did not at all think that these drug dealers were going to have these children on their properties, keep them there, have them possibly be seen. No. What I was saying is that these are the types of people that look for opportunity to make money any way that they can, no matter who gets hurt, even if it's kids. And they see two children in that house. There was a drug party. The parents are out of it, completely messed up. Already got a 16 months old. And one of them thought, I cannot get anything more out of here. All these people are broke in this damn house. But I know whom to sell these children to. And so that they introduce the language of, yeah, I keep them as a collateral. These were just my ideas that I'm throwing out here because of some of the statements that indicate the kids could be out there, but they don't want to tell you what happened. Let me see the statement, plans, information. Yeah, I know. I know she's all right, plunder. I look at it now. There's dealers and one kids. I suspect Malaya's. What is that? Let me see. I suspect Malaya's mother told. No. Let's see what else I got. People. Leilani Simon? I don't know who that is. I think the name sounds familiar. Quentin Simon, who was sentenced. Yeah, I don't know. I pay attention to one or two cases at a time. And then I go back, of course, to Summerverse, John Benet Ramsey, a little bit of, you know, yeah, please let me know what you think about this case. Any other statement? If you can tell me if, you know what? Let me go back to the beginning part.
You don't have burnout. It's called
Ah,
cortisol
shut up.
addiction. Waking up.
Search team's going. He has no phone retention, but he does have photo of the two kids. The 6-year-old is the girl, I believe, and she's wearing pink. The 4-year-old is wearing some blue dinosaur boots. So, yeah, I think that's all we kind of have right now.
Mm.
The drone operator is still on scene with the mom, so. Just make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
So we've got this troubling case out of Nova Scotia, and
Mhm.
I was up all hours of the night doing research
I do
and just
that.
trying to dig through today all this dispatch audio, hours and hours and hours worth of dispatch audio out of Canada. It's regarding the two missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan. I've heard some pretty interesting things over the dispatch from Friday, May 2nd. That's the day that the children were reported missing. So I wanted to dig and dig and dig and see what I could find. So far, the most interesting thing is that one of the authorities is telling another, the dispatcher is saying, make sure the mom stays close to the house.
Mhm.
Make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
Make sure the mom stays close to the house. And that's exactly what did not happen. And I'm wondering why. So Lily and Jack Sullivan were last seen on Friday, May 2nd, 2025. So it's been...
No, they were not. No, they were not. At least not by these two.
6 days. Today is Wednesday, May 7th. And that's kind of scary to think about. Young children being missing this long. So now they're trying to put the pieces together on Friday morning. I've heard so many conflicting reports. As you'll hear, or you might have just heard, one dispatcher is saying they were last seen at 8 a.m.
And the veteran blew the call this morning, and they haven't been seen since then. I need to get a good statement and figure stuff out.
Ow.
Call from again.
About
You copy there? I think your portable's
boot and a boot.
spotty. Was that you I heard on here that was going to do a search of the residence again?
Audio.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. They were going to do the property and the residence again. Cover that. Property and the residence again. Copy, just for everyone's awareness.
Does it get better? Does it get better?
I just want to remain hopeful.
Okay.
But there's always, in a mother's...
Morning, and they haven't been seen since then. I need to get a good statement and figure stuff out. Call from again. You copy there? I think your portable's spotty. Was that you I heard on here that was going to do a search of the residence again?
Audio.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. They were going to do the property and the residence again. Cover that.
Bear with me, people. 1 minute.
Property and the residence again. Copy, just for everyone's awareness. Based on the profile, the children could have traveled at least 6 kilometers. So keep that in mind. Sergeant Young, for your awareness there, media release has been put out in a non-intrusive alert to the Senate Victor County. Perfect, thank you.
At 8 o'clock a.m. that morning, I've heard that reported twice throughout this dispatch, Friday, May 2nd. But then trying to piece together other reports claim the children were last seen at 10 a.m. I don't know where the confusion is coming in, but this happened at the home of these two people you're about to meet. You're going to see their interviews, the mom and the stepdad, who really isn't a stepdad. The mom calls him her
I'm
partner.
just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. careful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911.
Everywhere.
I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge...
You're overdoing it. They talk to everyone, they talk to anyone. They're extremely sweet kids. Yes, you already told us there is a good chance they were abducted, even though you're trying to not say it, but hint at it. Not just that they could possibly be abducted. She tells us it's not possible, which it is a possibility that they could have been. You're overdoing it, ma'am. You're overdoing it because you're not directly telling us my children talk to anybody, or they're very open, they're very communicative. And I'm worried that they were abducted because they spoke to somebody that they shouldn't have. No, you're not saying that. Why is she not able to say it? Because in my opinion, she knows whom they may have went with.
Search effort going on right now.
And it wasn't just anybody or everybody.
But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility, but they could have been.
A lot of people also look at an Amber Alert as a way of saying, I'm cleared. The parents are cleared. Let's go look way out there everywhere. And it can also mean that she thinks they might be somewhere to be found. But she knows, if that's the case, whom they're gone with, and she needs to talk.
An alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them.
Sorrow and pain is so final, man. I mean, how happy will it be once you find them? Where's your hope? And why don't you have any? Why do you want to have hope and are trying to have hope, but don't have any?
They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful, but there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst.
In a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. No, siree. Not when your children are missing. In a mother's mind, you keep hope alive. How do you feel? How would you feel? How do you think you would feel as a mother? always thinking the worst? What reason does she have? There's something that she knows, which is the worst, that keeps her from being able to think the way a mother who doesn't know would think, which is having no time to have negative thoughts. The negative thoughts will, of course, be closing in on you, but you don't think about that. You will go with whatever you can do to assist to get your children back home. Even I'm thinking about other situations where I left my key somewhere. I lost my key, but I thought I knew where I put it, and I eventually found it. But the whole time that I went, and it took like 10-15 minutes to go retrieve my key, I thought about nothing else. And I didn't think about the worst. What will happen if my key, if I can't find it, and how do I get in the house, and this and that, and or who, what, I didn't think about any of these things. I just knew I had to get that key. And so a damn key and a little bit of inconvenience. Compare that to 2 children missing, and you're thinking the worst? No. Why?
This night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds.
By the way, it was one of the worst nights. Why not the worst night? Which was the worst night? Was the worst night the night before, where actually the children wound up missing, where actually something happened, something very, very significant, that they may have died actually? Was that the worst night? And the night after that was one of the worst night, as in the second night worst night. As in the second night, the kids were not there in their beds.
And I don't want to go through them another night without them.
So unfortunately, this case is reminding some people of
I don't want to go through another night. Rather than one more night, a second night, another night. Are you referring to a third night?
a Jennifer Soto, Stephen Stearns type of situation. It's happening in a place called Lansdowne in Nova Scotia. You can hear from the dispatch. I tried to just pick out the most interesting parts related to the case, when they learned the children were missing, how the search began, what conflicting reports are coming out. Over dispatch, you hear someone saying she has no phone reception, but she does have a photo of the 2 kids. I don't know if they're speaking about the mother at this point.
Probably.
The mother of the 2 missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan, her name is Malaya Brooks Murray, and her partner, or the guy they were calling the stepdad, is Daniel Martin. They've both given interviews. It seems like Daniel has given more than Malia has, but I've been searching and searching. I don't know if they're talking about Malia not having phone reception. Supposedly she was the one who called 911, so I'm assuming she would have reception, but there's this Facebook group I've been following, and I put all my sources below, so many Canadian publications, and some people are saying the dad said he went searching first before 911 was called. There's a lot of inconsistencies people are picking up on.
หลอกลวง
คุณโอเคไหม
กระเป๋าเป้
There's a lot of inconsistencies people are picking up on.
I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack, with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white. It was white, with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long. After it got soaked from the very first day, we only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
So that's probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new. The helicopters are still in the air, and they have dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going on in the infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that.
Pressing for tears.
Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack. Bugs, they're like best friends. That's just brother and sister.
Anyway, over the dispatch, we hear them saying, the 6-year-old is the girl, I believe. She's wearing pink.
The woods, that'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new. The helicopters are still in the air, and they have dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going on in the infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that.
Anything like that.
Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack. Bugs, they're like best friends. That's just brother and sister.
Anyway, over the dispatch, we hear them saying, the 6-year-old is the girl, I believe.
I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack. Bugs, they're like best friends. That's just brother and sister.
Anyway, over the dispatch.
He looks a lot better here, right? That's not filter. He looks a lot healthier here. A lot.
We hear them saying, the 6-year-old is the girl, I believe. She's wearing pink. The 4-year-old, who is the boy, Jack, he's wearing blue dinosaur boots. That's all that official had at that point. Later, more details would come out, like the girl allegedly wearing her backpack. And I don't know where the 8 a.m. came from, because during the mom's interview, she spoke about waking up, drifting in and out of sleep. The kids were playing, like right in the room next door or something. And then she says she knows somehow. I don't know if they have Ring cameras or something. I don't know how she knew this knowledge. But she said the children opened the sliding glass door, and this sliding glass door, they can't hear it. And she's drifting in and out of sleep. And then the children, I guess, must have closed that sliding glass door, and they were out there playing. Now, you will see in some of these reports, there's like a lean-to type of wood structure. I know Daniel at some point somewhere talks about cabins, and you'll hear in the dispatch coming up where they've searched cabins, they've done a thorough search, and it's very scary that 6 days later, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old have not been found. Allegedly, there was a possible boot print or something found, but nothing came of it. From Canada, police did update the public today. Today is Wednesday, May 7th, and they said, basically nothing came of that boot print. Daniel did mention that in his interview, as if certain boot prints from the kids facing the road were found, but these parents insist, as they say in the dispatch too, the children would not go and cross the road in front of their home. He's wearing blue dinosaur boots. That's all that official had at that point. Later, more details would come out, like the girl allegedly wearing her backpack. And I don't know where the 8 a.m. came from, because during the mom's interview, she spoke about waking up, drifting in and out of sleep. The kids were playing, like right in the room next door or something. And then she says she knows somehow, I don't know if they have Ring cameras or something, I don't know how she knew this knowledge, but she said the children opened the sliding glass door, and this sliding glass door, they can't hear it, and she's drifting in and out of sleep. And then the children, I guess, must have closed that sliding glass door, and they
Really?
were out there playing. Now, you will see in some of these reports, there's like a lean-to type of wood structure. I know Daniel at some point somewhere talks about cabins, and you'll hear in the dispatch coming up where they've searched cabins, they've done a thorough search, and it's very scary that 6 days later, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old have not been found. Allegedly, there was a possible boot print or something found, but nothing came of it. From Canada,
I will let it run
police
through,
did
people.
update the public today.
Almost
Today is
done.
Wednesday, May 7th, and they said, yeah, basically nothing came of that boot print. Daniel did mention that in his interview, as if certain boot prints from the kids facing the road were found, but these parents insist, as they say in the dispatch too, the children would not go and cross the road in front of their home. There's this home, it's on Garlock Road, and it's really dense. I mean, it's beautiful out there, lots of trees, but it's like a lot of slopes, a lot of dangerous terrain. And to imagine...
Yeah, but they would have found him by now. That's not my focus. That's not my focus at all. And the tracking dogs would have found him by now. Right? I mean, these tracking dogs, how many do they have? Yes, they scaled back. They had to. They should have, because there's nothing. But why didn't they deploy cadaver dogs? That's what I don't get.
Children wandering around such terrain, you'll hear in the dispatch coming up too, like one of the rescuers or one of the searchers had extreme muscle cramps, and maybe that's the person they talked about being carried out of the woods today when they talked about it in the presser. I will put the presser at the end for you in case you haven't seen it.
No idea. I have no idea. I'm still searching every day. I'm waiting for information. I have to let them do a lot of their stuff with the aircrafts and everything else, and dogs and searchers. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be coordinated.
Okay.
Coordinated. I can't just go run into the woods. I want to.
Something happened to him, to his appearance. I don't know if it's the teeth or if something, such a difference between like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because the searchers are so far out.
But, okay, this stepdad partner, Daniel Martell, mom, Malia Brooks Murray. Again, I found it so ironic that one dispatcher said, make sure mom stays close to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak up and get back into the house. Now, this is early during the search,
Yes.
During those early moments.
I don't think they would say anything like that now. The police probably realized, it's one of those. And once they do the switch, there's no switching back, people. Once they know, okay. This is not a walk away, a runaway, or just a missing person. This is a criminal case now. And they do not return to the original attitude. Period.
During those early hours where perhaps authorities are used to kids just kind of getting out, wandering around, and being found a couple of hours later.
Uh-huh.
So it was great advice. While the searchers are out doing their thing, and the dad and the stepdad partner, her partner is allegedly out searching.
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since Friday morning, when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as it could, and waited for the police to get there.
It was good for this dispatcher to advise, make sure mom stays close to the house. Someone has to be there in case, she sees her little ones wandering and she can beckon for them to come to her. Well, this mom left the next day, Saturday, May 3rd. There's a whole lot of drama going on. She left to go to another location. I believe she has a young baby. Her partner has other children. They obviously got into some sort of kerfluffle. There was an incident, apparently Saturday, May
Wait, what did you say? Kerfluffle? Kerfluffle? Is that Yiddish?
3rd. I even went through a lot of dispatch trying to figure out what happened with this incident. Thus far, on Saturday, I haven't found anything about what the argument was, what the fight was, whatever happened between this couple that caused the woman to skedaddle, to leave her home while her young children are still missing. Daniels even went.
By the way, this is the beginning of her video, and I just felt the need to go back there in case I missed something.
To talk about getting interviewed by police. He's going to talk about Malaya blocking him on social media. And so people are like, what is happening during this missing children's case?
Right.
You would expect the mom and stepdad or her partner to just draw closer together, not farther apart. Some people were wondering, are the police going to announce the arrest of these two? But they didn't. It was a sad, sad presser. But during this search, there have been a lot of different rumors. You know, everyone turns into a sleuth. Of course, everyone wants to help. There was some rumor about, some men.
Good catch. Everyone turns into a sleuth. Yeah. Well, I know very incompetent professionals, and I know people who are so-called sleuths who are very helpful when the professionals do not get results. So everyone turns into a sleuth. Wow, Plunder, that's pretty dismissive. Because I think that, well, maybe she's a one-woman show and just doing this on her own and just looking up the things. But sometimes it may be useful to get people to point things out to you. But I guess she's more or less like a journalist, but better than a journalist, because journalists do not really on TV. They just present, okay, this guy said this and this. So she goes a little bit deeper into things. But you know,
And some foreign men were seen, 2 men. And
what?
I guess that's been debunked.
Foreign men?
And now, even in the dispatch audio, the dispatcher explains a 911 call she received. Someone saw a suspicious vehicle, but it turned out to be nothing suspicious after all.
Otherwise, what are the details? Has it been gone a long time? 0800. The address, the last point, no. Member is here under Left Row. We just had a 911 call. Can I go ahead with the details? Yeah, go ahead. So we had a call via 911 from a Karen on a cow. Kindly about 5 minutes. She was just driving past the black Honda CRV. That was Bush Marker Golf Mike Fox 320 that left the outdoor recreational park close to the residence and is permanently closed. I am unsure if related, but it felt a bit strange to her. Driver was a white male around 50 years old, bald with a mustache.
Oh yeah.
It left from 1480 Fairlock Road.
I have to look more into this.
I can send that around to your MWS if it's easier.
So people have their eyes peeled and, they're looking at everyone with suspicion, especially because the parents are inferring potentially that the children were abducted.
We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day, we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can. Just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in military outfit said I could go back into the woods. I hate being wet and cold. So they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only 2 prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it. Post any officers they can get at the New Brunswick border, PI border, and get them at every airport possible. Anybody who has any information, or you think you've seen something, or hear something,
Airport.
or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your local police services. Anything, guys, anything.
At first, they were wandering the woods.
Wow, I didn't see this before, people.
But now
Give me 1 second. Now I need to do a little bit. Time out, time out, time out. Okay, wait.
The address for the last part, no? My life here under Buffalo. We just got a 911 call. Can I go ahead with the details? Sarah called me a 911 from a Karen on a cow. I kind of live 5 minutes. She was putting just driving past the black on the CRV. That was Bush Marker Golf Mike Off 320 that left the outdoor recreational park close to the residence. It is permanently closed. I'm unsure if related, but it felt a bit strange to her. There was a white male around 50 years old, bald with a mustache. It left from 140 Fairlock Road. I could send that down here on WS if it's easier.
So people have their eyes peeled and, they're looking at everyone with suspicion, especially because the parents are inferring potentially that the children were abducted.
Okay, here we go.
We covered everywhere possible.
I've
Even
been
the first day we could, even with me running through the woods ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that.
okay. I left a comment there to get my audio straight to know when to start. Give me 1 second.
Abducted.
We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day we did. Even with me running through the woods ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming loud as I can. Just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods. Hate being wet and cold. So they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only two prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it. Post. Any officers they can get at the New Brunswick border, and PI border, and get them in at every airport possible. Anybody who has any information and you think you've seen something or hear something or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your
Airport. That could indicate trafficking.
local police services. Anything, guys. Anything.
At first, they were wandering the woods.
So waist deep. Let me hear this one more time.
Abducted.
We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day, we did. Even with me running through the woods ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that.
Ahead of the drones, he was running through the woods.
Screaming loud as I can.
He was screaming as loud as he can, just like K-Foot talked about. I was hysterical, screaming, crying. Why are you feeling the need to tell us that? If you're really interested, if you will go out there and just search and not put so much emphasis on what you did and how stressed out you are. Has he told us yet about how the kids must feel being cold in the rain?
Just until my throat hurt, running through water that was up to my waist.
Uh-oh, poor baby. The water was up to your waist and you were running through it. What are you dealing with here? Are you suffering? It should be nothing compared to your concern, what Lily and Jack are going through.
And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in.
He wasn't allowed back in the woods. So he's giving a reason why he didn't search as much as he could have.
Military outfit said I could go back into the woods. Hate being wet and cold. So they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only two prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it. Post. Any officers they can get at the New Brunswick border, and PI border, and get them in at every airport possible. Anybody who has any information or you think you've seen something or hear something or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your local local police services, anything, guys, anything.
At first, they were wandering the woods. That's the thought process. But now that it's been so long, I guess it's entering the minds of Malia and Daniel. Oh, yes, they really could have been abducted. But it turns out that suspicious vehicle was nothing. So I don't know what's up with this 8.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna stop right here, and I'll see you next time. Please leave me a comment and let me know. Chances are I'm going to transcribe now this particular statement we just heard. I see you next time.